I mean, I'm thinking like divorced second time, but it feels horrible. First time it didn't feel horrible. I was only married 3 months. But to be married for 27 years and get divorced? Am I going crazy here? Or what?
And his 40-year-old ass will get a chance at a new life with new babies that her perfect BMI fertile body's just gonna pop out. And I'm gonna be left here alone to raise the kids by myself. And the only thing I can hope for is that my son joins the NBA and wins a championship and then shouts me out. And he's just like, yo, you're the real MVP, mama. And that will be the highlight of my life because single moms can't move on like single dads. That's just the way it goes. It's not fair. I can't go out and find me a Melissa.
But I'm sure my husband can find somebody that doesn't have multiple sclerosis. There's plenty of women out there in the world that don't. Why would he want me?
Best years of my life. My hottest years. That was my prime. I'm not getting a prime anymore. And now he gets to move on and have a second chance. How is that fair? Yes, I know I filed for divorce, but he was supposed to keep fighting for me for as long as it took to get me back.
Technically, I didn't file for divorce. I was busy being sick with MS in Oregon, terrified. And then my husband filed for divorce and instantly kicked me to the curb. I went to the MS Society. They have like a legal day once a year where they're able to have lawyers that volunteer their services to the people that have multiple sclerosis that might need help with their disability case or wherever they needed help. And I remember when I went to legal day and I met an attorney, he was a divorce attorney. And he said to me, I'm not here to help with people's divorces. That's a whole different thing. I'm the top New York divorce attorney. I don't need clients. I get celebrity clients all the time. And I said, well, I am just doing this legal day with the MS Society. I don't have money to pay you, but I am married to a celebrity. And he's been kicking me to the curb since I was diagnosed. Actually, even before I was diagnosed, he kicked me to the curb. And the lawyer, he said, okay, I'll help you get to family court so that your husband can try to give you at least, I don't know, how much money do you need a month? Let's ask him for that. Man, what a horrible thing to ask for. Because my husband went and got an attorney that was a divorce attorney that knew my attorney as a divorce attorney, but we weren't in divorce court. We were in family court. And his family court attorney says, yeah, he's not giving her shit. As a matter of fact, she's on television. She is, look at this Variety newspaper here. She's working on television. And I was like, my name ain't in Variety. If anybody's name is in Variety, it's probably his name, not mine. What? Where'd this attorney come from? And my attorney says, oh, I know her. We all know each other. All the attorneys, all the judges, we all are good friends. Let me go talk to her in a private chamber. When he came back, while he was there, my husband and I were able to talk. And I said, I don't want to get a divorce. I'm not here to divorce you. I just need some support because with MS, man, I just don't know what I can't do anymore. I can't manage myself. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. We'll work it out. And you know what he did?
And I'm sorry. But tomorrow, you are going to pull yourself together. You're going to beat that face and lay that hair and slide on those Spanx and remind Gary what he's missing.
Remind my husband what he's missing? He's not coming out to Portland, Oregon to see me in Spanx with my hair slicked down and my face beat. He's not even picking up the phone to call me up to say, are you okay? And then my 2 daughters, they don't pick up the phone to call me. Nobody's curious how I'm surviving multiple sclerosis? Oh, wait. They don't give a shit about me. That's right. I forgot. No. I mean, I'm watching the First Wives Club, and there's something about these women that support each other that's missing in my life. I don't have a group of women that support me. I don't have a group of family that supports me. I don't really have anybody but me, myself, and I and my creator above, below, and all around. From my crown, top of my head, down to the ground, chakras keeping me planted on earth and surviving. So what am I going to do? I'm doing it right now. I'm telling the stories that I know how to tell, because as a storyteller, I have been telling stories since I've learned how to talk. And my mother taught me very young, like, don't be telling no lies. That's not how you tell a story. And then my mother and father told me all the stories of their life that they were able to tell me at the time that they were telling stories. So you're here with me, so I can tell you the story about me and my life and how I'm an MS warrior. How I didn't know that I was fighting that battle with my health to stay completely healthy for 100 years with no complications, no problems. And I'm in my 60th year now, and God woke me up this morning to say, like, you're a storyteller. You're a storytelling, truth-telling, land-dwelling fish. Hey, I'm here to help you. You're a storytelling, truth-telling, land-dwelling fish. Bring out your sing and do your thing. Nobody has to judge you. Nobody has to put you down. Turn that freaking smile upside down from a frown. And just be brown. Sad little brown girl. Oh, yes. Sad little brown girl, because the standard American diet was the downfall of my good health. I don't know, something happened in the 60s and the 70s with food that made it, I don't know, artificial and freezable and dehydratable and storable. Even though it's a living food, you can kill it and eat it later. That's the standard American diet, and that's what made me a sad little brown girl, because I'm still 4'11.5". I didn't get to 5 feet yet, but any minute now I could actually get over 5 feet. Since healthcare is doing so well with finding stem cells that can treat most illnesses, and when Dr. Sebi's truth about fasting, starving your body so it can heal, hits me, I realize, oh my gosh, this is more than one book. This is a bunch of books, because my life is a bunch of books. And I am a storytelling, truth-telling, land-dwelling fish. And somehow, I always manage to come through.
Get done.
When?
I just need to get into my creative space.
Well, you haven't been in that space for over a month.
Yeah, and maybe it'll take another month or another. I'm not a slave to a date, okay? Why do you care so much anyway?
It's because I believe in you. I want to see you win.
You don't think I want to win?
I don't know anymore. You know, you say you do, but your actions say otherwise.
Whatever, Khalil.
No, not whatever. Look, Hazel, I know you're going through a lot right now, but this is the perfect chance for you to take that pain and channel it into your music. Like honesty. That's what got you here in the first place. The hell, that's what your fans want. They want the real you. Why you can't just give them that?
Why can't I give my real fans that? Because my fans have been under the age of 10 for the last, 40 years. They're over the age of 10 now. But there is still a new group of 10-year-olds and 0-year-olds and unborns. And children's artists like me have to keep making music for them. But I'm kind of stuck in the place that I'm stuck right now. I kind of feel like Jill Scott and Khalil's conversation was like me and God's conversation. The conversation I have with Baha'u'llah. You know, sometimes I think about the difficulties that are in my life. And they're the regular difficulties that other people have, and then they're the difficulties that people with chronic illnesses have as well. Every chronic illness is different from the other chronic illness, and pretty much they all suck. It's kind of like when you're diagnosed with cancer. You either can fight to remove those cells so they don't destroy other cells, or you allow them to destroy you. Luckily, multiple sclerosis is not a cancer, even though they're in the same family of broken immune systems. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, asthma, diabetes, multiple sclerosis. No matter how careful I was growing up and eating the things that my mother was making, my parents had the most amazing garden. The house that they bought for me in Medford had fruit trees. My dad planted pear, peach, apple. There was probably another fruit tree. My dad planted rose bushes, rose trees. My dad was an amazing gardener. Our grass was green. The greenest grass on the block was my dad's lawn. And my mother and father had the most bodaciously bold, amazing farm. It was not a garden. It was a freaking deacon farm, because the food grew so strong and healthy and plentiful that we were able to feed so many people, so many neighbors. A lot of the other black people would get the collard greens that my parents were growing, and tomatoes, and all the things was so plentiful and bountiful. And then when it was just me, the only one in the house, it was like me and my dad. He was 40 years older than me. So when I turned 15, he turned 55. When I turned 20, he turned 60. When I turned 25, my dad turned 70. Somewhere around in there, I was not in touch with my father and mother like I used to be. And then one thing I knew, he died. My mom called me up to say your dad died today. And just like that, I lost my father. My 40. I was his shorty. So whenever I'd say like, hey 40, what up 40? He'd say, hey shorty, what are you doing? And then I would tell him what I was doing. I would tell him what I'd want to do, where my dreams were going. And he'd listen to me intensely, not talking, but but listening. And then he would tell me something similar that was in his life to the thing I was talking about in my life. And that's how I learned to tell stories. Because my father was so honest, telling about how he was growing up in Natchez, Mississippi. How he would hunt all day long. How he would hunt at night. How he would sleep under the stars. And how he would just be exploring nature constantly. Encountering alligators, you name it, in Mississippi. That whole southern part of the United States. Natives down there. Living in the nature down there. That's where I come from. That's where my daddy come from. Natchez, Mississippi. And like Natchez is way that far down south in the state. It's not near the coast, but it was pretty murky. And my sister went to the res before she died. She went to where he was born. And she was on that whole ancestry DNA thing before it was a thing to do. My sister was tracing my father's roots from Natchez, Mississippi to the U.S. Navy for World War II. How many of the natives were enlisting, volunteering, because they had to get away from where they lived. So my dad volunteered. He was like 14, 15 years old. And they knew he was young, but, they just were like, great, an Indian. Bring him in. He couldn't join the army. His feet were too flat. Choctaw, we have flat feet. And his feet were too flat for marching in the army. So he was on the Navy ship. And all the skills that he was taught as a sailor. Pretty amazing. Because as a dad, he was most excellent. As a storyteller, he was mysterious. And there was always a positive type of ending that wasn't happy, but it would transport you to somewhere else. And that's what my daddy taught me how to do when I'm talking. Not talk a lot. Speak softly. Carry a big stick. And do everything I do with love. 'Cause that's what my daddy taught me how to do. And that helps me be an MS warrior! Yeah! Oh no! Oh no, battling MS. It's almost difficult to impossible to really be able to do. Oh no. This is my Tinka-Tongue drum that fits on my thumb. stays in the palm of my hand. Helps me not feel so sad. And it is a little brown drum that helps me morph to an MS warrior. You know, I can't remember if my dad actually was breathing when he would tell a story. He was so mystical. I don't think he was breathing.